Today I'm going to convey one of my biggest pet peeves. Lovely, I know. Monday I shared a poorly written but sweet story from my 8-year-old self. Yesterday I shared the beginnings of a new way to look at thought. Today, if you're one of the people who violates the thing I'm going to rant about, you might not like me. But listen anyway. You might hear something between my rantishness that makes sense or a difference to you. I shared this concept with a friend recently, and it landed for her in a really beautiful way. That may not be you. You may want to knock my block off. Knock my block off. That reminds me of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Oh my God, the good old days. Okay, now listen up. Who took the I out of I love you? People have shortened the I love you to love you, or worse, love ya. And I'm not really sure I like it. I'm serious. Who did it? I'm going to punch them in the throat. Okay, so you want to reserve I love you for your romantic partner, your husband or your wife, or your immediate family members. I get that. But shortening this important phrase not only makes no sense to me, it doesn't make sense, period. You're still the person loving the other person, so doesn't the inclusion of the I in this sentence matter? I love you. It's like leaving out one of the most important parts of the equation. The person loving the other person isn't there. Love you. Including the I in I love you is just a little more, integrous. It has more meaning. It's more authentic. If you break down the sentence, love you, it doesn't make sense. It's actually telling the other person to love themselves, not conveying that you in fact love them. Now listen, I know pronouns are a hot topic right now, but leaving them completely out of sentences when you are the subject of that sentence seems slightly negligent or kind of silly. If you're going to take the time to convey love to someone in the form of these 3 precious words, wouldn't you want to actually show up in the sentence for the person to whom you're directing the love? Listen, I know I'm throwing shade on all of you or all the people that struggle with saying I love you. And there are some people that have a really hard time with those words. Those words conjure up or bring forth feelings or emotions that are hard or uncomfortable. And there are people for which saying I love you out loud makes them feel too vulnerable. Or they didn't grow up hearing I love you, so they don't really have a reference for the use of it. And then there's the love languages, and some people's love language is not the use of words. So I understand all that. This is a rant. I'm just saying that if you're going to tell someone, if you're going to express in words to someone that you love them, saying I love you is far more meaningful than saying love you, because the inclusion of I is a relevant and beautiful part of that expression. Don't you think? I feel like expressing love is truly one of the most wonderful opportunities we have in life. And it's one of the things I personally don't ever want to regret not having expressed. But again, this is me. It doesn't have to be you. I do think, however, if you're going to tell someone you love them, you have to include the I. I mean, come on. It doesn't mean you have to walk around and tell everyone in the world, strangers on the street, or anyone that you love them all the time. It's not a love fest I'm going for here. This is just a sharing of, it's a plea to say that if you're going to tell someone you love them, include yourself in the equation. And of course, people like Snow Patrol say these 3 words that are used way too much, and phrases like that don't help because there's been many references about how everybody these days just tells everybody they love them. Well, when you think about it, don't we kind of all feel that way? We're all humans. We're all part of humanity. On some level, we kind of love one another. Well, I know the election results are coming in. There's going to be a lot of non-love, especially today. But in general, we do love people. At the very core of who we are, we love. There's a shared or universal love that we all feel now and again. So I'm not saying you've got to tell everybody you love them, but the one person you're telling in the moment, I think that expression should entail the fact that it's coming from you. So that would require, as I've been saying ad nauseum, it requires that you say the word I. You can take this or leave it, whatever you want. Oh, I just thought of something. You sound like Tarzan when you don't use the word I. Although he'd at least replace the subject of I with me. Me love Jane. Me love you, Jane. Me love you. I mean, Tarzan speak is less nonsensical than your omission of the word I. Just say it for God's sake. I love you. How hard is that? There, that's my thought for the day. One of my biggest pet peeves, who took one of the most important parts of the I love you expression out of the expression. Oh, and in nod to my vinyl slinging buddy Lonnie, I want to remind everyone of his very important message. ELE. Everybody love everybody. Can't think of a better thing to end on. I love you. See you tomorrow.
I'm just calling to say